Most people think CSAR is just a helicopter that goes and picks up a pilot. That is like saying a surgeon is just someone with a knife. The reality is far more complex, far more dangerous, and far more impressive than anything Hollywood has ever shown you. CSAR is a specialized task performed by specially trained and equipped rescue forces to recover distressed personnel during wartime or contingency operations. The concept is built around what the military calls a rescue task force, a coordinated package of aircraft, operators, and supporting elements assembled specifically for a given recovery mission. Every piece of that package has a job. Every person in it has trained for years to do exactly one thing at the highest possible level. And every single one of them is willing to fly into enemy airspace on purpose to bring one person home. The motto of every pararescue and every PJ is 4 words. These things we do that others may live. That is not a marketing slogan, that is a contract. A promise made to every American flying in combat that if you go down, we are coming for you, no matter where you are, no matter who is waiting. Now here is what a real CSAR package actually looks like, because this is where people get shocked. In its standard configuration, the Rescue Task Force centers on one or more rescue helicopters, now the HH-60W Jolly Green II, accompanied by HC-130J Combat King II tanker and command aircraft, a 10 or F-16 escort fighters operating in what is called the Sandy role, suppression of enemy forces threatening the rescue and electronic warfare assets. That is already a significant air operation for one person on the ground. But in a high-threat environment, the package grows. More fighters, more tankers, drones overhead. Electronic warfare, aircraft jamming enemy radar, AWACS circling at altitude, coordinating the whole thing like an air traffic controller for a war. In the April 3rd rescue of a downed F-15E over Iran, the initial CSAR task force involved 21 aircraft. That was just the first wave. By the time the second crew member was extracted, the operation had expanded to 155 aircraft, including 4 bombers, 64 fighters, 48 refueling tankers, and 13 rescue aircraft. 155 aircraft. For 2 people, that is not excess, that is doctrine, that is the United States military making good on its promise at whatever cost it takes. Now let us talk about the helicopter at the centre of all of this, the aircraft that actually goes in and gets the pilot out. Because the HH-60W Jolly Green II is not just a Black Hawk with a paint job. It is one of the most capable and specialised aircraft on the planet. The HH-60W is an armed, all-weather, day and night combat rescue helicopter fielded to replace the older HH-60G. It is built on the UH-60M Black Hawk airframe and named the Jolly Green II in honour of the Vietnam-era rescue helicopters. It carries 2 pilots, a flight engineer and a gunner. It flies at up to 176 miles per hour, reaches a ceiling of 20,000 feet, and has a base range of 690 miles, which extends to unlimited with aerial refueling. That last part is critical, 690 miles on internal fuel alone. Hook it up to a tanker in mid-air, which the Jolly Green II can do, day or night, over enemy territory, and the range becomes effectively unlimited. The helicopter does not have to turn around and go home. It can refuel while flying and keep going, deeper, further, longer. It features a fully digital glass cockpit, double the internal fuel capacity of its predecessor, cabin and cockpit armour, integrated chaff and flares, a digital radar warning receiver, laser and missile warning systems, and externally mounted 7.62mm miniguns or 50 caliber machine guns. This helicopter is not going in naked, it is going in ready for a fight, and the people inside it, the pararescuemen, the PJs, are not just medics. They are special operations combat troops who also happen to be trained to perform emergency surgery in a field clearing after fighting their way to you on foot. No other branch of the US military, and no other military in the world, fields operators who can halo parachute from 25,000 feet, fight their way to a downed pilot through enemy resistance, and then perform emergency surgery in a jungle clearing before calling in a helicopter for extraction. Think about what that actually means. These men train to jump out of aircraft at the edge of the atmosphere, free fall in darkness, fight enemy troops on the ground, then shift immediately into acting as a trauma surgeon. Their training pipeline takes years, the washout rate is brutal. The ones who make it through are, without debate, among the most capable human beings ever produced by any military on Earth. Now, before we go further, let us talk about how they actually find the pilot, because this is the part that most people never think about. The shooting has stopped. The pilot is on the ground. He is alive, but enemy forces are searching for him. How does CSAR know where he is? The CSAR mission sequence begins with a distress signal or report of an isolating event. Authentication of the survivor uses pre-established personal identification data maintained in what the military calls an isolated personnel report, the ISA-PREP. Every American aircrew member flying in a combat zone fills out this form before they fly. It contains personal information only they would know. When a pilot on the ground keys his survival radio, the rescue team on the other end runs authentication. They ask questions only the real pilot can answer. This is not just procedure, it is the difference between flying into a trap and flying in to get your guy. The pilot's survival vest carries a radio, the AN-PRC-112 or the newer AN-PRC-148, that transmits both a voice signal and a GPS beacon. The moment the beacon activates, satellites pick it up. Within minutes, the Joint Personnel Recovery Center has a precise location, not an area, a grid coordinate. In the April 3rd mission, the Joint Personnel Recovery Center for US Central Command declared an isolated personnel recovery event at 4:40 in the morning local time. Upon confirmation that rescue beacons were active, a rescue operation was launched immediately. 4:40 in the morning. Less than an hour after the jet went down, the machine was already moving. But finding the pilot is only step one. The harder problem is getting to him before the enemy does, and this is where the Sandy role becomes everything. A Sandy is a specially qualified and dedicated A-10 pilot trained in search procedures, survivor location and authentication techniques, and helicopter support tactics. The lead Sandy will be the on-scene commander for the rescue. The A-10 is not there by accident. It is the ideal aircraft for this job, slow enough to talk to someone on the ground, tough enough to take hits and keep flying, armed with a 30mm cannon that can suppress enemy forces within yards of a survivor without killing him. The A-10 circles overhead, talks to the pilot on the ground, keeps enemy forces back, and clears the path for the helicopter to come in. During the Iran rescue, the A-10S were violently suppressing and engaging the enemy in a close-in gunfight to keep them away from the downed pilot and allow the pickup force to get into the objective area. One of the A-10S, the one primarily responsible for communicating with the downed pilot, was hit by enemy fire. An A-10 took a hit. It kept the mission going anyway. That is what this community does. Now, here is the part that almost never gets discussed, the HC-130J Combat King II, the fixed-wing aircraft that makes everything else possible. Operating under the Crown call sign, the HC-130J Combat King II is the only dedicated fixed-wing personnel recovery platform in the Air Force inventory. Its crews train and execute with the sole focus of making sure that an isolated person's worst day is not their last. The HC-130J dynamically orchestrates strike assets, intelligence and surveillance aircraft, escort aircraft, suppression of enemy air defenses, and command assets to enable the rescue helicopter to recover the isolated person as quickly as possible. This is the brain of the entire operation. It is flying a command post. While the A-10Es are in the weeds fighting, while the helicopter is pushing toward the survivor, the HC-130J overhead is coordinating every moving piece. It is talking to fighters. It is talking to AWACS. It is managing the refueling schedule. It is keeping the whole machine from collapsing into chaos. And it is keeping the Jolly Green II in the fight. The HC-130J provides helicopter air-to-air refueling through two underwing pods that allow it to refuel two helicopters simultaneously, both day and night. Without this capability, the reach of a rescue mission would be drastically shortened, potentially putting a survivor beyond reach. Think about what it takes to refuel a helicopter in mid-air over enemy territory at night, two aircraft flying in formation. A hose extends from the HC-130J. The helicopter pilot pushes his aircraft into position behind it and makes contact with a probe on the nose of his aircraft. Fuel flows. Both aircraft are flying at the same speed, in the dark, possibly under fire. This is a skill that takes months to master and must be executed perfectly every single time. And in Iran, this happened repeatedly in broad daylight while Iranian air defense systems were active below. Videos quickly spread on social media showing the HC-130J refueling two HH-60Ws over Iran. The Joint Chiefs Chairman confirmed their authenticity. This allowed the rescue package to press deeper into the objective area. Footage of American aircraft refueling each other over Iran during an active rescue mission broadcast to the world. If you want to understand what operational confidence looks like, that is it. Now the cost. Because what happened in April 2026 has shattered every previous record for the price of bringing people home. By the end of the mission, the United States had lost an F-15E Strike Eagle, at least two HC-130J Combat King II aircraft, an MH-6 Little Bird helicopter, one A-10 Thunderbolt II, and possibly multiple MQ-9 Reaper drones. Two HH-60W rescue helicopters were damaged, and several other aircraft reportedly declared emergencies. Analysts now believe the total cost may exceed $2 billion. $2 billion for two men. And here is the thing, nobody in the rescue community will tell you that was the wrong call. Because the entire purpose of CSAR is not efficiency. It is not cost-benefit analysis. It is a promise. And the promise does not have a price limit. Since September 11th, 2001, pararescuemen have executed over 12,000 life-saving combat rescue missions. The Air Force Cross has been awarded disproportionately to PJ's 12 of the 22 enlisted recipients since Vietnam. 12 Air Force Crosses, the second highest medal the United States military can award, and they went to the men who run toward downed pilots in enemy territory. This is the community. 200 people pilots, PJs, combat rescue officers, flight engineers, gunners, maintenance crews, intelligence analysts, mission planners, all organized around one singular purpose. If an American goes down, somewhere in the world, in the worst possible place, at the worst possible time, this team is already moving. The Jolly Green II is already airborne, the HC-130J is already calling coordinates, the A-10Es are already rolling in on targets, and somewhere on the ground, a pilot in a survival vest is hearing a sound that means he is going to make it home. The sound of rotor blades.